Hello, wrestling fans and sports collectors. This is Tom from CollectAWrestlePalooza. Today I am counting down the top 5 prices paid at auction for wrestling VHS since August of this year until the time of this recording, which is mid-November of 2024. Stay tuned to the end of the video and I will compare the number 1 highest price from this countdown to the last time I did the list all the way back in July of this year.
CollectAWrestlePalooza. CollectAWrestlePalooza.
Let's start with the criteria for this video. For a price to be included in the top 5 list, it has to be an eBay auction. Second, I am filtering to only show sold and completed auctions that come up when I use the search term wrestling VHS. And finally, I am only including completed sales that have multiple legitimate bidders and bids since August of 2024. If you're new to this channel, welcome. We feature content about collecting with a big focus on professional wrestling, particularly from the 80s and 90s, but we feature all kinds of other collectibles too, like Garbage Pail Kids, music cassettes, and vintage t-shirts. If you've been here before, I am really glad you decided to come back. Thank you. I wanted to mention I have an eBay store as well as a Patreon. For $5 a month, you can get your name in the credits of these videos, as well as 10% off everything in the CollectAWrestlePalooza eBay store every day. Links to all that stuff are in the video notes. Coming in at number 5 is a VHS from my favorite series of videotapes ever, the WWF Coliseum Clamshells, a 1986 Bruno Sammartino tape sold at auction for $104. $104 is a lot to pay for a loose rock clamshell, so this title must have more going for it. First, it's incredibly clean. Look at how tight the clear plastic sleeve is holding the label to the clamshell. On most old tapes, that plastic is dirty, wavy, or yellowing. Let's take a look at the tape itself. It is also very clean, outside of a few pen marks on an otherwise pristine label. The seller advertised the copy as tested. It plays well, and it contains matches from an era of professional wrestling that is difficult to find footage, the pre-Hulk Hogan era. Hogan's title reign coincides with professional wrestling having more television deals, pay-per-view events, and physical media merchandise like VHS and Betamax tapes. So it would make sense that a buyer would want this VHS, even if just to watch it. I'm guessing it's also rare. Some Coliseum clamshells are much easier to find than others. Technically, the title of this one is Wrestling's Living Legend Bruno Sammartino. It is WF023, which means it is the 23rd tape of the WF Coliseum series. In my experience, some of the clamshells are just harder to find than others, some of them almost never coming up in the aftermarket. If viewers have a sense of some other rare titles, please leave comments and let us know which ones. And finally, Bruno Sammartino is indeed a pro wrestling legend. The most amazing record he still holds its longest title reign. He held the WWF heavyweight belt from 1963 all the way until 1971 for an unheard of 2,803 days. And it wasn't the only time he held the title. To put that in perspective, Hulk Hogan's longest reign was for just under 1,500 days and Roman Reigns just over 1,300. Coming in at number 4 is an event and tape I knew nothing about before making this video, 2003's Insurrextion, a UK-only pay-per-view event which sold at auction for $105. Some fun facts about this event: it is the only Insurrextion event under the WWE label. All previous Insurrections were WWF events. It is the last Insurrextion event, since UK-exclusive pay-per-views were cut from the promotion after 2003. And finally, it was the last WWE pay-per-view to take place outside of North America until 2018's Greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. Let's look at the VHS box back. One thing to notice is the bottom left corner. This is the UK version of the VHS, which makes it more special as a UK-only event. We know this because the seller was based in the UK, and also because the box back shows the UK rating system in the bottom left corner. The event features 4 championship matches, but no belt changes. Triple H retained against Kevin Nash in a street fight. Kane and RVD defeated La Resistance. Christian retained the Intercontinental Championship against Booker T. and Jazz beat Trish Stratus to keep the women's championship. Coming in at number 3 is 1993's WWF Wrestling Grudge matches, which sold at auction in raw condition for $116. This is a Coliseum VHS, but it's not a clamshell. On the side of the VHS, we can see that this is numbered WW1902. I did some research and found that Coliseum only released 3 titles as part of their WW series. This was likely going to be some sort of a subset of the WF series, but only 3 ever became WW titles, and they generally sell for a premium on eBay. For that reason, I believe they are rare. The WW series of tapes also features the white rip design, meaning the area above the title where we find the Coliseum seal is white. The other 2 WW titles are WrestleFest 93, which I have featured in another top 5 list, and UK Rampage 93. But Grudge matches may be the coolest one. It features one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, Papa Shango, on the cover, right beside Macho Man Randy Savage. This compilation also features matches of Virgil, IRS, Shawn Michaels, Bob Backlund, Ric Flair, The Undertaker, Big Boss Man, Repo Man, El Matador, and Crush. Fun fact, Repo Man is the same wrestler who was Smash of Demolition. Coming in at number 2 is 1993 WCW Fall Brawl War Games, a sealed copy sold at auction for $150. This wrestling event is special for 2 reasons. First, it is the inaugural Fall Brawl and the re-emergence of War Games, a specialty match invented by Dusty Rhodes for the Four Horsemen in the mid-1980s. Second, this event features the infamous Shockmaster. If you're not a wrestling fan, you may not know who the Shockmaster is. You need to pause this video and look it up. Look up the Shockmaster debut on YouTube. It is the most famous wrestling botch of all time. Don't worry, when I say botch, I don't mean anyone gets hurt, except maybe for some egos. Other than that, I don't know why this VHS would sell for this much money. Viewers, help me out. Is this a rare title? What makes it special? And coming in at number 1 is one of the most iconic wrestling VHSs of all time, Royal Rumble 1992, which sold sealed at auction for $665. Royal Rumble 1991 and 1992, seen here, have arguably the best artwork ever on a wrestling tape. The illustrator meticulously captured likenesses of all the big names participating, marching at you through the night, sometimes holding weapons, like a bunch of thugs ready to, well, rumble. How cool is that? I actually like the 1991 cover more than 92, maybe because it is the first and therefore 92 feels more like a copy. But 1992 holds the distinction of also being Ric Flair's first world title win in the WWF, which the Nature Boy has stated is one of his crowning achievements. He came in at number 3 and outlasted all 29 other entrants to win the vacant title. Most fans and critics call the 1992 Rumble the best Royal Rumble match of all time. And this VHS copy is sealed. Getting big box Coliseum videos sealed generally raises the desirability significantly, as the cardboard surface is so vulnerable to crushing and denting due to the design. The only problem I have is the giveaway shrink wrap to the surface hides the amazing artwork. That is a small complaint though for an otherwise amazing WWF collectible and artifact. And as promised, let's take a look at the number 1 from back in July of this year. At that time, the highest price paid at auction was WrestleMania 4, a sealed copy selling for $265. That's a low price. I still think it's low, even now. But if we look at the price paid for Royal Rumble 1992, it's more than 2.5 times as much. That's a great sign for the hobby and a great sign that people are still willing to open their wallets for some of these rare tapes. So thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, be good to each other. Happy collecting.
CollectAWrestlePalooza, CollectAWrestlePalooza.